Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm here to talk about Arrow, episode 513, titled Spectre of the Gun, which premiered Wednesday, February 15, 2017 on the CW. So guys, quick reminder, if you haven't seen the episode already, go watch that first before you check out what I have to say about the episode. Otherwise, my other reminders are seen on screen right now. Have a little quick read up over that, and then let's start with the 10-minute clock, and let's begin with what happened in this episode. So timeline-wise, no clue how long it's been since the previous episode, but we do know that it has been at least 3 months since Felicity has been trying to find the location of Prometheus's mother. So I'm assuming since the mid-season finale, when they found out that Prometheus was the son of one of Oliver's list kills back in season 1. I'm assuming since then Felicity has been trying to find the mom, because that way they could find the son and get a name of him for that. So 3 months since then. So that's the only time I can really give you. Episode reminder though, pretty much this episode focuses on the gun control in Star City, or the issue behind gun control in Star City. So episode breakdown though is really only the one storyline though, and it's the fact that there's a shooter that attacks City Hall. He ends up killing about 7 people, part of the administration team, and then he targets the hospital, only to be talked down by Mayor Oliver Queen, and he's arrested. Through this, we see Felicity secretly using the Helix hard drive. We see Curtis and Renee throughout the episode argue over the concept of whether it's okay for a person to have a gun or not to have a gun, and the rights behind all that, or the lack of it, I don't know. But they get heated up very quickly, as Renee is pro-gun and Curtis is anti-gun. So there's that. And we do see a bit of a dynamic starting between Diggle and Tina, who everyone is starting to call Dina. Dina Drake, she introduces herself to as Lance. But I'm going to call her Tina because I was introduced to her as Tina. And so I'm going to be used to that. So there's that. Also, flashbacks in this episode were focused on Renee and his family life. It's roughly, I'm assuming it's either the day of or a few days before the day that Damien Dark died. Because that, the whole thing, we find out that Renee was married to a girl named Laura, who was a former junkie. And she was killed when her dealer came for some money. Renee got shot a few times, only to shoot back at the dealer, but a stray shot from the dealers ended up killing Laura. Also, Renee had a daughter with his wife named Zoe, who was put into foster care after this incident happened. And failing to get into contact with his daughter, Renee sees the news report about Damien Dark being killed by the Green Arrow, and how the city had rallied together to fight against Damien Dark's men. And with that, that gave Renee the idea to hit the streets as Wild Dog. So there's that. That newscast has been shown a lot, though. We saw it again, the first time in the Legends of Tomorrow episodes a few weeks ago, and I think the first time it was shown was actually in the season 4 finale last year. Last season. So there's that. Last moments of the episode, though, was showing Oliver addressing the city about the new firearms policy and how together they could fight for change in their city and fight for safety and all that. So there's that. Tidbits, though, we see the return of Thea, who is back. She makes note of Oliver's little trips since she's been away, Hub City, Russia, and him doing a whole bunch of other things, not as the mayor. We also got this episode, we get Adrian Chase getting shot in the City Hall attack. Because of this, we see his wife Doris at the hospital with him, telling him to take it easy, but he kind of doesn't want to. We also get the news that Renee is now Lance's new assistant at City Hall. So there's that. Thea's not really into that idea. But we also see Tina, or Dina, get a lease on a studio loft, and she has enrolled or enlisted into the SCPD, thanks to Diggle's many encouragements to take small steps to get back to the normal she once had, since for the last 3 years she's kind of been focused on vendetta for her partner. So there's that. Moving on to the most shocking moment of the episode, I have to say that it has to be how much Mayor Queen had to be in the spotlight. it wasn't like, not like media spotlight I'm referring to, but more of like how much work Oliver had to do as the mayor and how much it was actually shown in this episode. He had to talk to many different council men and women about a certain policy. He had to make sure he checked on the people who were injured. He had to deal with the families of those that they had lost. He had to address the people through the media. He had to address people at the vigil at the very end, and he had to go he dealt with the shooter personally to try to prevent him from attacking any more innocents. So I think we saw the quote-unquote Mayor Oliver Queen a lot more than we saw the Green Arrow in this episode. So I was pretty surprised by that. Which moves on to my top 3 favorite moments. The first one, I would have to say, has to be Mayor Oliver Queen. The one moment that really made it my favorite was the moment where Oliver was actually handling the shooter at the hospital, and he was talking him down and try to make sense and make reason to this guy as Mayor Queen. It was very impressive, and while I love it when Oliver gets into the action scenes and shows his skills and how he's just a super badass and everything, that moment right there when Oliver used his words and used his logic and used his compassion and relatability to the person he was talking to and get them to stand down and rethink, like, what I'm doing isn't the right thing. That is what I loved about the episode, because Oliver got his message through without needing a bow and arrow, without needing to use his fist. He got through with the power of his words, and I absolutely love that. It's just when Oliver needs to say something, he really delivers, and I love it. And it came at a great time for that too. Second favorite moment I had was with Quentin Lance telling Oliver that he can help the city through this crisis as Mayor Queen, not as the Green Arrow. And yes, that might seem a little disconcerting, saying that, oh, you can't help them as the vigilante, the guy you've always been to help the city, but as the guy everybody sees you as Mayor Oliver Queen. Help the city by being that person. So I really like the faith that Lance had in Oliver, and that he's saying that even though Oliver's saying that this is hard, I'm not prepared to deal with something like this, Lance says it doesn't matter. You're going to be dealt with like hard obstacles, and you need to face through it and figure out a way to save this city. And that led to Oliver trying to make the firearm, try to bring back the registration, which led to the policy that they ended up agreeing on to kind of make people safer and more secure in their city. So I really like the faith that Lance had in Oliver's ability to make a difference in the city. Another thing I liked about the episode was Thea's hatred for Susan, and thank goodness Susan was not present, or a Dragon Lady as she calls it. I'm definitely with Thea on that issue of Oliver dating Susan. Thea doesn't trust Susan. She doesn't see why Oliver is even with her, and I'm all for at least someone is seeing that for it is. And maybe people are just brushing off because it's the fact that it's Oliver's sister who doesn't like who he's dating, but Thea might have more info into why she doesn't like her. So I'm going to stick with her on that. And that leads me to my top 3 peeve moments, and the only one I had was the fact that Oliver defends Susan Williams to Thea. Like, a commenter in my previous episode, your name's on screen, sorry if I can't remember off the top of my head though, but hi. They had asked me if it was possible that Oliver knew that Susan was playing him and he was just playing along to kind of keep her close. And at first I thought maybe, like when I responded back to the comment, I thought, okay, maybe. It's very possible that he could be doing that. You know, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. But I don't really think with Oliver's track record that he would do that. And his defense for Susan against Thea in this episode kind of cemented my thought on the fact that Oliver has no clue that Susan is looking into his past, is trying to dig up all of his secrets, and is making the connection that he could very well be the Green Arrow, while also masquerading as him while he was in Russia when he was supposed to be trapped on an island. So, yeah, Oliver's defense just isn't looking good in my eyes for how he sees Susan, and he even told Thea that Susan is someone he's come to care for. So it's like, that was my only peeve. That one little comment on how he felt about Susan. It's just like, no, I would rather him just play along and kind of keep her close, because he knows that she's like an enemy that needs to be kept an eye on, but doesn't look like it. Moving on to what moment will I remember most when I look back on this episode. The fact that there was a whole gun control issue, or the lack of a gun control was the issue. And there's the timer. But moving on though to random questions very quickly. Renee made an excellent point to Lance about how easy it is to get a gun in the city than it is to get permission to, or a license to carry one. So I don't know much about the whole process, but why can't they change that process? If it's so easy to get a gun, then why not make it just as easy to get a license? Because isn't it better to have someone who knows how to use the weapon? Or let me say, isn't it better for someone to have a license to prove that they know how to use a weapon, to have someone who has a weapon and they have no clue how to use it? I mean, would you rather, if you're kind of stuck between two people and one person, you got to pick between one person who knows how to use the weapon they're holding against a person who doesn't know how to use the weapon they're holding? Isn't it better to kind of go with the one that does know, or you feel a little safer with the one that does know how to use the weapon? Or I guess it decides if what end you're on that gun with, but like, I hope that makes sense. I don't know much about it, but that's kind of my process on it. So like, why couldn't they change that aspect if that was the issue? But anyways, I have no clue. I don't want to start an argument about it in case I am wrong. But there's that. Another question though is just that I'm wondering, the guy who stopped the Green Arrow during his interrogation, was that vigilante? The vigilante? It's been a while since I've seen him in his full-on gear and everything. So was that him actually killing the guy that was strung up upside down, or was that another vigilante we have to deal with? Now that one you can answer down below in the comments. I'd really appreciate that. Moving on though to predictions. Based off the promo for 5/14, it looks like there's going to be a prisoner breakout, and we're going to see the return of China White, Cupid, and Liza Warner, who was from episode 404. The lady cop, you might remember her as, or the corrupt lady cop, you should say. And also we see that the Green Arrow is wanted for the death of Detective Malone. So there's that. Based off the synopsis, though, for the episode, it looks like China White, Cupid, and Liza Warner break out of Iron Heights and head to Star City for revenge. Oliver tries to bring in a newly formed girl gang, but the ACU intervenes mid-fight. To his surprise, they are there to arrest the Green Arrow for the murder of Detective Malone. Meanwhile, Lance feels responsible for the prison break after Warner tells him she heard about him working with Damien Dark. So there's that. So after all that, any new questions from me? I've got a few. Question is, why are they trying to arrest the Green Arrow when they know that Prometheus had set the stage, so to speak, for that kill? We know that that is what they think because Adrian had brought it up to Oliver when he was mayor, or as mayor. So there's that. Next thing, Felicity, I think, is going to be going down a very dark path as she continues to use the Helix flash drive. Don't know how long anyone's going to catch on to that, but we'll have to wait and see. Also, I think the process of Curtis helping Renee get back custody of his daughter, I hope it's not just a one-and-done thing in one episode. I hope they actually show us like the process. It takes a while for it to happen, but then he gets to that point. Like, I hope it's not just a snap of your fingers and it's done type of deal. But question is, though, if he does get his daughter back, will Renee stop being Wild Dog? So there's that thing as well. Also, my still two standing predictions I've been saying for quite a few videos now, though, is the fact that I still think that Adrian Chase is vigilante, and I still think Susan is going to betray Oliver with what by revealing what she has been finding on him. So those two are still on my screen as you speak. So guys, what do you think of the episode? What do you guys like about it? What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your own thoughts, theories, predictions about what you think is going to happen next. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my videos if you haven't done so already. Also, if you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff all in one spot, so go check me out there. Also, my WordPress is connected to my Tumblr as well as to this YouTube channel, so you can check everything I post online through that one spot. But that's about it. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you come back next week to see what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Have a great day. I'm going to go watch Blind Spot now. Bye.